Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Review.
Here's Planes Round Trip Expansion. This is the only expansion I know of for Planes. One thing you'll notice with this is that the box is quite a bit bigger than the original box. You can see the expansion box comes around. This is the original box here, and that's the corners being lined up. So the new box is quite a bit bigger than the original, which is funny because there's less stuff in here and you'll probably get rid of this quite a bit sooner. You're going to have a rule book, which we'll take a look at in just a second, and then you're going to see one of the worst custom inserts. There's a place in here for the cards, but really nothing else. Everything else just kind of sits in there, and then you're going to have the additional boards here, which we'll take a look at in just a second. So this insert is garbage and terrible, but to be honest, you probably put everything in the original box anyway. So let's take a look and see what's in here. You're going to have some cardboard victory points. You're going to have some new planes that fit in perfectly, and then you're going to have some new cards that will be put in here. Everything matches up pretty well with the original, and then you're going to have a couple maps here that you'll be able to utilize. You can see now a place for your blockage cones, your victory points. That's all printed on here. Here's a new board that you'll be able to utilize during the game. And then on the other side, you're going to get a spot over here for this new usage here. Let's jump in and see how all of this works. So there's three new planes that you will have. You will have your colored planes that you'll see here, but they're going to be different. So this gives you 3 victory points and allows you to draw some cards. And each of them will allow you to do something different. The first one there gets 6 victory points, then draw 3 cards, then 5 victory points. So it gives you a little something to do that's not just the same, get victory points or draw cards. This one is more neutral planes, and it kind of does the same thing. It gives you different options. These give you a victory point and draw 2 cards versus just a regular 3 victory points. These are wild, so these are a little bit more interesting. You can see 2 victory points, etc. This allows you to victory points / draw cards. What's interesting about these wild ones is that when you go around, anybody can load these. They kind of give you like a shorter or a variant until it's full. You can put neutral ones, red, green, blue, whatever, and they can fill the wild one up as the game progresses. So those are 3 different planes in this little modular that you can add to the game of these different planes. The second new thing in the game are these cards. I'm not going to go into detail too much. They still are specified by color, and they'll give you new things to do. Draw 2 cards in your hand and discard 2. Draw cards equal to the number of players, beginning with the current player. Each player adds 1 card to their hand and passes the rest to the left. Move only neutrals. Bring up the 1 neutral from 1 space to meet the restrooms, and you're scoring for the restrooms. So you just give you new things and new goals and new things to do. The variety is always good, so that's what you're going to get here. So you're going to get a board with double-sided like I showed you. What's interesting about this one is that you have to go through the central hub, and when you leave that, you have to go through these icons here, and that's what you're basically doing, is kind of crisscrossing through this section. So if you exit this way, then what you'll be looking at is coming out on one of these spots, or if you exit here, you'll come off one of the green ones, and that's kind of where you'll go, and that's what this new one will do. It'll be something a little bit different for you to play with. Everything else with these new boards pretty much work the same. I do want to show you in the rule book that there are now scenarios that are included, so you can play different. So this one says Flying Cloud Airport from the base game. During setup, you cover all the fine dining and help desk, remove the 4 dining cards, and place new help desk tokens, and then play proceeds. So this gives you different ways to play with the tokens you have. So a Zypher Airport. During setup, you cover all the icons on the board with blank ones, put the removed cards back in the box, add 1 restroom to the very center space, and then play proceed. So there's quite a few of these in here, and they just kind of shake up the map and give you different ways to play and look at the game. Round trip expansion, should you add this to your collection? I would likely tell you maybe. If you're a huge fan of planes, which I found to be kind of a vanilla game, then you'll want to add this in. It's going to give you a lot of variety. I like the new planes quite a bit, especially the wild ones. The new boards are crazy. The new scenarios are actually really fun. It gives you a different way to play pretty much every time that you play. That's a huge step up. This box is all about variety. New cards, new planes, new scenarios, new boards, new victory point tokens. Everything in here is just something to add to the base game. It gives you variety. It shakes it up so it doesn't feel like the same game every point. I feel like if you're going to play planes, you're going to have to get this if you're going to want to play it long term, because this adds the variety that you're going to need to keep the game fresh. Otherwise, the game is going to get fairly samey rather quickly. So I would almost tell you need to buy this when you buy Planes. Play original Planes a couple of times, and then start adding these things in to give the game the longevity that it perhaps deserves. So I actually like the expansion more than the base game, as in the fact that I would say if you're going to get the base game, this is almost a requirement.